I think
Yeah,
we could definitely hang. I just had a deja vu. That's really weird. That's a good sign, man.
that's a good
It's a
sign.
really
That's a
good
good
sign.
sign.
Yeah. There's a
Yes.
glitch in the matrix. Hello, everybody. Miles Kessler here, and I'm very happy to be on the call today with Patrick Cassidy for a little short message to all of you about our upcoming Tele-Summit, Aikido at the Leading Edge. We're approaching 40 teachers for this 10-day free event, and I'm very happy that Patrick, my old teaching buddy, Patrick, Patrick and I, we lived and trained together back in Japan, back in the day, in the formative years. And we do a lot of teaching together these days too. So it's great that you're going to be joining the Tele-Summit, sharing your perspective, which is a unique perspective on in the Aikido world, from my opinion. And also, Patrick's going to be helping out with some of the moderating the panel discussions and carrying a little weight for me. So, Patrick, we're happy to have you with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Miles, and I just want to share how inspired I am to be a part of what you're putting together. This event, I think, is pretty paradigm shifting event for the world of Aikido, and to get so many different people from so many different perspectives together in such an event is I'm very happy to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to doing whatever I can to help kind of facilitate what you're going to be sharing with the Aikido community at large.
Well, I mean,
it's very cool.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you and I teach a lot together, so we know each other quite well. But if you were to say there's one perspective or one message or one intention, I mean, it's really about your work, what you're already doing every single day in the dojo, and when you teach at home and when you teach all around. What would be the one perspective you'd like to share with people?
Well, I think there's that's a very interesting question, and I think that the power of Aikido is also its weakness in the sense that it can mean so many different things to so many different people, and in wanting to come across and present something that feels coherent and that resonates with myself and the Aikido community at large, I would say that there's a certain degree of wanting to become authentic, fundamentally kind of centered in your own self, knowing who you are and where you're going, and fundamentally having the power to make an impact in a positive sense in the world around you.
And Aikido as a vehicle for doing that.
Exactly. And Aikido is a way to structure your system in such a way that you become more fundamentally you, more comfortable with your life, more capable of responding. And that includes also the physical domain, but it does not limit the physical domain. It's more in line with the fundamental way we operate as a human being. And I think that Aikido is one of the great vehicles to help stimulate that type of growth, what I would call being authentic.
So in a way, when we contact the authentic nature or the spiritual core even of Aikido, it also touches us to find our own authentic expression in the world.
Exactly. So it's a dual system in the sense of coming back to a universal experience of oneself, but then it channels that back up into how does that look in time and space in the midst of the most challenging aspect of being a human being, physical conflict. And then that permeates out to conflict as a whole and as a general, both inner and outer. And because the approach is a spiritually oriented approach that's embodied in physical movement. So it's not physical movement, it's an actual spiritual perspective embodied in physical movement. And so you get that resonance there, and everything clicks together. And you start to actually explore the nature of it, not the details, but the nature of it. And that gets very exciting because you see its impact throughout everything that you do.
Right.
And it starts percolating up into your consciousness, and you're going, wow, this fits. That all fits. And I start to see how I can unify the perspective into one thing. And that's what Aikido is so rare, or as a practice form, because it does give that person that perspective. And I think that's what's very inspiring and exciting about what you're doing is trying to bridge that. What the Tele-Summit is about is trying to bridge that perspective in such a way that we become more conscious of ourself. I think this is what the Aikido community is struggling with.
Mm,
It's not self-conscious.
right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't know what it is. I mean, and I don't mean to define what Aikido is, but I think there's a certain sense that Aikido as a community, as a global community, has so many different varieties of perspectives. We're this, we're that, and yet when we're over here, we're like, no, we're not that, and then we're over here, we're not that,
But if we
and it's
connect with
difficult.
the universal core,
Yeah.
then all those perspectives are held because
Yes.
the deepest part of Aikido, the most authentic part of Aikido, is also the deepest and most authentic part of us.
Sure.
And that's
Yes.
where
And
you and
like,
I are actually, we
yeah,
share the same perspective.
yeah, absolutely. This
Great.
movement towards a capacity to integrate all those
Mm.
different perspectives into one cohesive whole, or something that's coherent in its understanding, both in the dojo and outside of the dojo.
Well, that's awesome. I know that, like we do have to get in the dojo. This Tele-Summit is not meant to replace training, but discussions like this are actually going to help us go to that leading edge, that
Mm.
developmental zone where we all share the same thing, even though we're developing in different ways, different perspectives at different times in our life. Aikido at the leading edge is really what this is all about, and I'm super happy that you're going to be continuing the journey together
Yeah, yeah,
with us
yeah.
on
Well,
this.
I can feel the energy already happening in the
Exactly.
conversation.
Yeah.
So,
All right, man. So we're looking
thanks, man.
for yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be May 12th to May 23rd. If you look below the video, you'll see a link. Go over, register. You'll get to meet Patrick. You'll get to meet. There's an amazing list of teachers.
Yeah,
You'll see. I won't even go into them all here, but that's going to be fantastic. And Patrick, I'm glad you're joining us.
cool. Thank you, man.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
stay in touch.
All right.
Bye.
All the best.
Ciao.